With COVID came drug development and also came testing. And the Hamilton automated liquid handling robotic equipment, our different platforms, were perfectly suited for that. In a pre-pandemic year, we would sell typically about 600 robots a year. During 2020, we took orders for over 6,000 robots, so an order of magnitude greater. Those robots went to companies that were existing customers to help deal with testing, but also went to new customers. Companies like Amazon bought robots from Hamilton so that they could manage testing in their own facilities, so that they could help to ensure the health of their employees. When we began the project with Sikich, we were in a traditional consulting model where the consultants traveled and were on site 4 days a week. And that worked out well for us, gave us a chance to get to know the players and gave them a chance to work with our business to understand the business users. In the middle of the project, the pandemic came, and during one of the weeks that the consultants were traveling, the hotel that they were staying in was closed down. People received notes slipped under the door saying, "You need to vacate your room, we're closing the hotel." So we ended up having to take a pause at that point because we didn't know what the pandemic was going to do and what our response was going to need to be to that pandemic. So in early 2020, we shut the project down. July came, we tried to restart the project, and the pandemic was still rampaging, and it just wasn't going to work for us, so we took another pause. We got to November, and what was fortunate that blessings and curses, one of our subject matter experts, her husband had taken a job in another state, and she had turned in a notice. She was going to leave the company. And her business leaders came to me and said, can we retain her on a consulting basis to help us finish the project? So I had to go to our CEO to get approval to do that. And at that point in time, he said, well, when should we go live? And I told him that we're about 6 months from go live. That's where we were when we put the project on pause. That's where we still are. So we can go live in 6 months. And he said, let's go live beginning of our fiscal year, July 1st. So we engaged with Sikich once more and said we're going to need to start. We had talked about returning to the consulting model, but with the restrictions from COVID, which impacted travel, impacted availability of hotels, many things, we said, let's start with a remote model using Microsoft Teams, using teleconferencing. Let's see how we can make that work. And at the right time, we'll transition to the traditional consulting model. Every few months, we'd stop and take a look to say, are we ready to go back to the in-person model? And we would say, I think we're good for another month. Let's see how things run. And we ran through Go Live with very little on-site presence from the Sikich team. And I think it's a testament to technology as it's developed, that there are now tools available that help remote consulting be something that works for an implementation project. You don't have to rely on being on site. So I would say to a company, you need to take a hard look at whether you need these people on site or not. There are certainly times at the beginning of a project when they need to come and understand the business. They need to see the operation. They need to meet the people that they're going to be working with. But once you've done that, you'll probably find that you can succeed using a remote consulting model, and in the process, you'll save yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars in consulting travel.